Tell me about that decision on a personal level to sit in that chair and know the minute you started to testify, when you walked back out those doors, your life was different forever.
I had made peace with that long before I testified. And I say made peace, I had accepted, I suppose is a better way of phrasing it. I knew that if or when I got to that point, I wasn't going to have those connections anymore. I would hope that I hope that I'd be able to maintain some of them. But that's straight out of Trump's playbook, and I know because I was part of it, and that's not something that I'm proud of. That's something that I hold myself accountable to, and I think that the more we can hold ourselves accountable to the vitriolic rhetoric and ostracizing people for having different political views. You know, I didn't come forward to hurt anybody. I came forward to speak the truth, and I think that that's our obligation as public servants. We're doing a disservice to our country if we're serving the principal, the President of the United States, not the principle in which that we took our jobs for.
Mika has a question for you. Mika?
Cassidy, thank you so much for sharing the process, the emotional and intellectual process that you went through serving this White House and trying to serve the country. Back to Mark Meadows, I wanted to, you all were discussing him around January 6th. I want to go back to Chapter 11 and ask what your instincts are. You wrote about him asking you if you would take a bullet for President Trump. And after you got over your shock at the question, you said to him, would you? And he said, I would do anything, Mark answered, looking over his shoulder at me, to get him reelected. How would you characterize what you witnessed in Mark Meadows' relationship with President Trump and maybe others as it pertains to potentially superseding patriotism and love of country?
Again, looking back with my hindsight now, there was an emphasis of loyalty in the Trump administration. At the time, you know, I was aware of that, and I saw that my obligation was my loyalty to the country. I felt at the time that Mark's obligations and loyalties were to the country as well. You know, looking back now, that moment specifically too is a moment that stuck out to me when I was writing the book. Because it's a really profound moment, especially in my reflection, that I'm able to grasp, and I can see the dissonance between the loyalty to the country and the loyalties that we had to Donald Trump. And there were points I was very loyal to Donald Trump. I had lost that part of who I was and the promise that I had made to maintain the loyalty, my loyalties to the country and the position that I had. Mark was very loyal to the president, and I don't want, that's not necessarily a bad thing. It becomes dangerous when you prioritize your loyalties to the president over your loyalties to the country and the job that you serve.
You know, Cassidy, I've been a Republican for much of my life, like you. Know Mark Meadows, I've known him for a while, known Donald Trump for a while, known people like Lindsey Graham for a while. And I never cease being shocked by my friends that I had that I would have never guessed would have blindly fallen into line behind a guy who puts himself above the country. But there have been a lot of great surprises, too. I've had people that I would have guessed would have been the first ones to blindly follow, sort of an authoritarian type leader, who've actually pushed back. And I'm just curious, in your experience, when you've made this decision, have there been some pleasant surprises, some people that you thought would abandon you, who actually have remained steadfast friends and defenders of you?
There have been, but I think the more enlightening part of this post-Trump era part of my life for me, and this is going to sound hokey, but is how welcoming people have been. You know, and I have lived a lot of this past year largely in isolation, and part of that was self-induced, part of that was for security reasons. But I have felt embraced, and my eyes have been reopened to the fact that there are good people there. There are people that genuinely care about public service. And, you know, as terrible as January 6th was, I still have hope. I still have hope that we can come back from this. I still have hope that there are good leaders, but we have to be able to elect those leaders. We have to educate people on the dangers of power and power being in the wrong hands.
Yeah, I've always thought, like you, one of the blessings that I've gotten out of a lot of things and over the past 5, 6, 7 years, just been finding that there were people that I fought against politically my entire life who I've gotten to know, who are really good, wonderful people who put country first and are, like you said, good, decent people.